We are looking at the four most common types of fragments, and we're looking at ways to identify them and to correct them. And we are up to the second rule, which is ing and two fragments. When the ing form of a word appears at the end, at or near the start of a word group, a fragment can result. And these fragments often lack a subject and they lack part of the verb, meaning that they sometimes need a helping verb to go along with the ing form of the verb. Same thing when we have a group starting with the word to. Sometimes a fragment can start. So let's look at some examples. I think you'll see what I'm talking about when we see it in action. First, we're going to look at an example of an ing fragment. I spent nearly 2 hours on the phone yesterday trying to find a plumber to repair my water heater. Eventually, I had to call a plumber from out of town. Do you see the fragment here? Well, our clue is that ing form of the verb trying. Now, in the subjects and verbs lesson, we learned that the ing form of a verb by itself cannot be the verb of the sentence, and neither can the infinitive phrase. So there's no verb here because trying can't be a verb because there's no helping verb. To repair can't be the verb because it's the infinitive phrase. So we don't have a verb here. And if there's no verb, then it's a fragment. And also, if we isolate this word group, if I were to just say to you, trying to find a plumber to repair my water heater, well, that doesn't make sense by itself. That means it's not a complete thought. It only makes sense when it comes directly after the first sentence. So to correct that fragment, the easiest way is just to connect it to that first sentence. I spent nearly 2 hours on the phone yesterday trying to find a plumber to repair my hot water heater. Now we've connected the two ideas and we no longer have a fragment. Another way that we can correct the fragment is by adding a subject and changing the form of the verb. I spent nearly 2 hours on the phone yesterday. I was trying to find a plumber to repair my water heater. So now we have added in the subject I, we added in a helping verb, so was trying can now be the verb of the sentence. Now let's look at an example of a to fragment. I plan on staying late today to get this project finished for my boss. Otherwise, she may get frustrated with me. Where is the fragment here? Well, the clue here is the word to. When a sentence begins with the word to, there's a good chance you can have a fragment. So this fragment is essentially two prepositional phrases. To get this project finished is a prepositional phrase. For my boss is a prepositional phrase. Well, if you think back to the subjects and verbs lesson, we learned that the subject can never be part of a prepositional phrase, which means we have no subject here. And also, if I were to isolate this and say to you, to get this project finished for my boss, well, that's not a complete thought. By itself, it doesn't make sense. So let's look at how we could correct this. One way is to connect that fragment to a complete thought. I plan on staying late today to get this project finished for my boss. Now that they're connected, we've eliminated the fragment. Or, just like before, we can add in a subject and a verb. I plan on staying late today. I must get this project finished for my boss. So now, by adding a subject and a verb, we've corrected that fragment. So in the next video, we'll practice identifying and correcting even more ing and to fragments.